The space station Nexus 7 never slept. Ships came and went at all hours. Aliens of every shape and size walked through its metal corridors. Some had scales, some had fur, some had no bodies at all, just floating clouds of light. And somewhere in the middle of all this there was. She was human, small, quiet, easy to miss if you were not looking carefully. She stood only 5 feet and 4 inches tall, with black hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her clothes were plain work coveralls, gray and practical. She carried a worn leather bag over her shoulder everywhere she went. The bag was old and soft from years of use. It had belonged to her grandmother. Worked as a cargo inspector on Nexus 7. Her job was simple. She checked boxes. She scanned containers. She made sure nothing illegal moved through her sector. It was boring work, but it paid well enough. She had been doing it for 3 years now. 3 years of aliens looking down at her. 3 years of being treated like she did not matter. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. To the older species, 30 years was nothing. Humans were bobbies, newcomers. They had not earned their place yet. Felt this every single day. She walked through the main corridor that morning, heading to her inspection bay. A tall, insect-like creature bumped into her shoulder without saying sorry. A group of blue-skinned traders laughed at something as she passed, and she was sure the joke was about her. A security guard with 4 arms looked right through her like she was invisible. She kept her head down and kept walking. That was the secret to surviving here. Do not make trouble. Do not draw attention. Just do your job and save your money. Her inspection bay was a small room filled with scanners and screens. Cargo containers lined the walls, waiting to be checked. Set down her bag carefully on her desk. She touched it gently for a moment, feeling the soft leather under her fingers. Then she got to work. The morning passed slowly. Container after container. Scan after scan. Everything was normal. Everything was boring, liked boring. Boring was safe. Around midday, she took a break to eat. She sat at her desk and pulled out a small lunch box from her bag, rice and vegetables, simple food from home. She also took out a small framed photograph and set it where she could see it. The photograph showed an old woman with kind eyes and deep wrinkles. She was smiling. This was grandmother. She had died 4 years ago, just before left Earth. The bag and the photograph were all had left of her. Ate slowly, looking at the picture. She missed home. She missed Earth's blue sky and green trees. She missed the smell of rain. But going back cost money, a lot of money. So she stayed here on this cold metal station, surrounded by aliens who thought she was nothing. After lunch, she got back to work. More containers, more scans. The afternoon was just as boring as the morning. Then they arrived. Heard them before she saw them. Heavy footsteps, loud voices, laughter that sounded like rocks grinding together. She looked up from her scanner and felt her stomach tighten. Were big, really big. They stood 7 feet tall on average, with thick green scales covering their bodies. Their eyes were yellow with black slits like snake eyes. They were strong too, much stronger than humans. They could crush a metal pipe with their bare hands. They also thought they were better than everyone else. 5 walked into sector. They wore expensive clothes and carried themselves like they owned the place. Maybe they did. Trading families had a lot of power on Nexus 7. They had money. They had connections. They could do almost anything they wanted. The leader of the group was younger than the others. He looked like he was in his 20s, though with it was hard to tell. He had bright green scales and a scar across his snout. His name was, though did not know this yet. Looked around the sector with obvious boredom. His yellow eyes moved from container to container, from scanner to scanner. Then they landed on. He stopped walking. His friend stopped too. They all stared at her. Felt her skin prickle. She knew that look. She had seen it many times before. It was the look aliens gave humans when they wanted to have some fun. The wrong kind of fun. She lowered her eyes and tried to look busy with her scanner. Maybe they would get bored and leave. Maybe they had somewhere else to be. Smiled, his teeth were sharp and white. He said something to his friends in the language. They all laughed. Then he started walking towards desk. His footsteps were slow and heavy. Each one made the floor shake just a little. Kept her eyes on her scanner. Her heart was beating faster now. The leather bag sat on her desk, right next to her grandmother's photograph. She wanted to grab them both and run, but she did not move. Running would only make things worse. Stopped right in front of her desk. He was so tall that she had to crane her neck to see his face. He looked down at her with those cold yellow eyes. "Human," he said. His voice was deep and rough. He spoke the common galactic language, but his accent made the words sound like an insult. Swallowed hard. "Can I help you with something?" Smile grew wider. He looked at his friends, then back at her. "Maybe," he said, "maybe you can." He reached out one massive clawed hand toward her desk, toward her bag, toward her grandmother's photograph. His hands tightened into fists under the desk. The day was about to get much less boring. His clawed hand stopped just above his bag. He let it hang there for a moment, watching her face. He wanted to see fear. He wanted to see her beg. Did not beg. She sat very still and kept her face calm. Inside, her heart was pounding like a drum, but she had learned long ago not to show fear. Fear only made bullies hungrier. "Nice bag," said. He picked it up with 2 fingers, holding it like it was something dirty. "What is this material?" "Animal skin." "Leather," said quietly. "Please put it down." Laughed. His friends laughed too. The sound filled the small inspection bay like thunder. "Leather," repeated. He said the word slowly, like he was tasting something bad. "Your species still wears dead animals. How primitive." He turned the bag over in his hands. Things inside shifted and clinked together. Watched every movement. Her muscles were tight, ready. "What do you have in here?" asked. He did not wait for an answer. He opened the bag and dumped everything onto the floor. His lunch box clattered on the metal ground. Her work tools scattered. A small book of notes fell open, pages bending, and the photograph of her grandmother landed face down with a soft crack. Stood up so fast her chair fell backward. She looked at the items on the floor. She looked at the photograph. A thin line now ran across the glass of the frame. "Pick them up," she said. Her voice was steady, but there was something new in it, something hard. Raised one scaly eyebrow. He seemed surprised that she was still talking. Most humans would be crying by now. Most humans would be running to find security. But this small woman just stood there, looking up at him with dark eyes that did not blink. "What did you say?" asked. "I said pick them up and apologize." The inspection bay went very quiet. Friends stopped laughing. They looked at each other with confusion. Was this human serious? Stepped closer too. He was so big that he blocked out the light. His shadow fell over her like a blanket of darkness. "Listen carefully, little human," he said. His voice was low and dangerous now. "You do not give orders to me. You do not speak to me unless I ask you a question. You are nothing. Your whole species is nothing. Do you understand?" Did not step back. She did not look away. "The bag belonged to my grandmother," she said. "She is dead. That photograph is all I have left of her. Pick it up, apologize, then leave." For a moment something flickered in his yellow eyes. It might have been doubt. It might have been surprise. No one talked to him like this. Not on the station. Not anywhere. Then his face twisted with anger. "You want your precious things," he growled. "Here, let me help you with them." He lifted one massive foot and brought it down on the photograph. The crack of breaking glass was loud in the quiet room. The frame splintered. The photograph tore. Ground his foot back and forth, making sure nothing could be saved. Watched. She did not scream. She did not cry. She just watched very quietly as the last piece of her grandmother was destroyed under an alien's boot. When lifted his foot, there was nothing left but broken glass and torn paper. He kicked the pieces toward. They scattered across her shoes. There, said, he was smiling again. Now you have nothing, just like your species, just like you deserve. His friends laughed again, but the sound was nervous now. Something felt wrong. The air in the room had changed. It felt heavy, tight, like the moment before a storm. Bent down slowly, she picked up one piece of the torn photograph. It showed her grandmother's eye, still kind, still smiling, even in death. She looked at it for a long moment, then she put it in her pocket. When she stood up again, she was different. It was hard to say what had changed. She was still small. She was still just a human in plain gray coveralls. But the way she held herself was different now. Her shoulders were back. Her feet were planted wide. Her hands hung loose at her sides, fingers slightly curved. She looked up and her eyes were empty. Not sad, not angry, just empty, like deep water with no bottom. "You are going to apologize," she said. Her voice was very calm, very quiet. "This is your last chance." Stared at her. For just 1 second, something cold moved through his chest. It felt almost like fear. But that was impossible. She was human. What could she possibly do to him? He laughed and reached out to push her. "Get out of my way, little." His hand never touched her. Moved. She moved faster than had ever seen anything move. One moment she was standing in front of him. The next moment she was beside him, her small hands wrapped around his wrist and elbow. Had time to feel confused. He had time to wonder what was happening. He had time to realize that his arm was bending in a direction it was not supposed to bend. Then he heard the crack. It was the loudest sound he had ever heard. It was the sound of his own bone breaking. Pain exploded through his body like fire. He screamed. The scream echoed off the metal walls and down the corridor outside. It was not a proud scream. It was not a warrior's scream. It was the scream of an animal caught in a trap. Fell to his knees. His arm hung at a terrible angle, bent wrong at the elbow. White bone poked through green scales. Blood dripped onto the floor. Let go of him and stepped back. She was not even breathing hard. The whole thing had taken less than 3 seconds. His friends stood frozen. Their mouths hung open. Their eyes were wide. They could not understand what they had just seen. It was impossible. Humans were weak. Everyone knew that. Humans were soft and slow and fragile. But this human had just broken his arm like it was nothing. Looked at the other 4 aliens. Her empty eyes moved from face to face. "Anyone else?" she asked. No one moved. No one spoke. No one even breathed. Outside in the corridor, a crowd was gathering. Aliens of every species had heard scream. They pushed and shoved to see what was happening, and what they saw would change everything. A small human woman standing over twice her size. On his knees, crying and bleeding. A broken arm. And silence, perfect, terrified silence. Then security finally arrived. The security officers were tall creatures with blue skin and 4 arms each. They pushed through the crowd with their weapons drawn. When they saw on the floor, they stopped and stared just like everyone else. "What happened here?" the lead officer demanded. Was still crying. Tears rolled down his scaly face. His broken arm hung useless at his side. He pointed at with his good hand. "She attacked me," he screamed. "That human attacked me. Arrest her, kill her." The officers looked at. She stood calmly with her hands at her sides. She did not look like someone who had just broken a 7-foot alien's arm. She looked like she was waiting for a bus. "I defended myself," said simply. "He destroyed my property. He refused to stop. I asked him to leave. He tried to attack me." Lies screamed. "She is lying. I will have her." "That is enough," the lead officer said. He turned to the crowd. "Did anyone see what happened?" Silence. The aliens in the crowd looked at each other. Many of them had seen everything, but no one wanted to speak. Family was powerful, speaking against it could cause problems. Then a voice came from the back of the crowd. I saw it. The crowd parted. A strange alien walked forward. She had 4 arms like the security officers, but her skin was covered in hard brown plates like armor. Her eyes were large and black, like the eyes of an insect. Her name was Bora, and she was a merchant. Bora held up a small, I recorded everything, she said, from the beginning. His face went pale under his green scales. His friends started backing away slowly, trying to disappear into the crowd. Give me that, the lead officer said. Bora handed over the officer watched the recording. His 4 eyes grew wider and wider. When the recording finished, the officer looked at, then he looked at, then he looked at again. Take her to holding, he said, pointing at, then he pointed at. Take him to medical and find those other 4, they are all witnesses. 2 officers moved toward. She did not resist. She put her hands behind her back and let them put restraints on her wrists. The metal was cold against her skin. As they led her away, she passed by. He was being lifted onto a floating stretcher by medical workers. His eyes met hers, and she saw something new in them. Fear. I was afraid of her, a human, this small, quiet human woman. This is not over, hissed. My family will destroy you. You will never leave this station alive. Looked at him calmly. Your arm will heal, she said. Maybe next time you will think before you bully someone. Then she walked away, surrounded by security officers. The crowd watched her go. Whispers spread like fire. What had just happened? How had she done that? Humans were supposed to be weak. Everyone knew that. It was a fact. It was science. Humans came from a small planet with weak gravity. They were soft. They were fragile. But this human had moved faster than anyone could see. This human had broken an arm like it was made of glass. Something was wrong with what everyone knew about humans. In the holding center sat in a small gray room. There was a table, 2 chairs, and nothing else. Her hands were still in restraints. She sat very still and waited. Hours passed. She did not move. She did not complain. She just sat and breathed and waited. Finally, the door opened. A new alien walked in. This one was different from any had seen before. She was made of crystal, actual crystal. Her body was like a sculpture of blue and white glass. Light moved inside her like slow lightning. I am, the crystal alien said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. I am the administrator of this station. I will be handling your case personally. Nodded, thank you for seeing me. Sat in the chair across from. Her crystal face had no expression that humans could read, but her voice was not unkind. I have watched the recording, said. Many times. I have never seen anything like it. I did not start the fight, said. No, you did not. That is clear from the evidence. Paused. What is also clear is that you could have killed him, easily, but you chose not to. Was quiet for a moment. Killing him would not bring back my grandmother's photograph. No, it would not. Leaned forward slightly. Tell me, human, where did you learn to fight like that? Looked down at her restrained hands. I was a soldier on Earth for 6 years. A soldier. His crystal body flickered with new colors. Your file says you are a cargo inspector. I am now. I was a soldier before, in the Republic of Korea Marine Corps. Looked up. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We got very good at it. Was quiet for a long time. The light inside her body moved and swirled like thoughts taking shape. The family is demanding your execution, she finally said. They say you committed unprovoked assault on a member of a noble trading family. His face did not change. And what do you say? I say the evidence is clear. You were attacked. You defended yourself. You used exactly enough force to stop the threat and no more. Stood up. I am dismissing all charges against you. Something loosened in his chest. She had not realized how tight it had been. Thank you, she said. Do not thank me yet, replied. The recording has spread. Everyone on this station has seen it. Everyone is talking about you, about humans, about what this means." "What does it mean?" Walked to the door. She stopped and looked back at. "It means that the galaxy just learned something new about your species," she said. "I suspect many people are going to be very interested in finding out more." She left. A guard came and removed restraints. Rubbed her wrists and stood up. She thought about her grandmother. She thought about the broken photograph. She thought about Scream. She had not wanted any of this. She just wanted to do her job and go home. But sometimes the universe did not care what you wanted. The video spread faster than light. Within 1 hour, every alien on Nexus 7 had seen it. Within 1 day, it had reached 100 other stations. Within 1 week, it was playing on screens across the entire galaxy. The video showed everything: picking up the bag, dumping out the contents, crushing the photograph under his boot, and then the part that made everyone stop breathing. Moving. Analysts slowed down the recording. They watched it frame by frame. They still could not understand what they were seeing. One moment she was standing still. The next moment she was behind, her hands on his arm. The next moment his arm was broken. 2.3 seconds. That was how long the whole thing took. 2.3 seconds to break the arm of a creature 3 times stronger than her. The galaxy had questions. Scientists started researching humans. They dug into old files. They read Earth's history. They studied human biology. What they found made them uncomfortable. Humans came from a world with strong gravity, not the strongest in the galaxy, but stronger than average. This meant their bones were dense. Their muscles were powerful. They did not look strong, but they were. Humans were also endurance hunters. Long ago, before they built cities, they hunted animals by chasing them, not by being faster, by never stopping. Humans could run for hours, days. They could keep going when other creatures collapsed from exhaustion. And humans healed. If you cut a human, the wound would close by itself. If you broke a human bone, it would grow back together. Given enough time, humans could recover from almost anything. But the most interesting thing was their history. Humans had been fighting each other since the beginning of their species. Thousands of years of war, millions of battles. They had invented countless ways to hurt and kill, and somewhere along the way, they had also invented ways to fight without weapons, ways to use the body itself as a weapon. They called it martial arts. The galaxy did not have anything like it. Other species fought with strength or speed or weapons. They did not study fighting like a science. They did not practice it like an art, but humans did. Humans had turned combat into something beautiful and terrible. Was not special, not by human standards. She was just a normal soldier who had trained for 6 years. On Earth, there were millions like her, and there were many who were much, much better. This information spread with the video. Aliens read it and felt something they had never felt before when thinking about humans. They felt nervous. Back on Nexus 7 tried to return to normal life. She went back to her inspection bay. She tried to do her job, but nothing was the same. Aliens who used to ignore her now stepped aside when she walked by. Aliens who used to insult her now nodded politely. Shop owners gave her discounts. Security guards greeted her by name. She was not invisible anymore. She was famous. Other humans on the station started coming to her. There were not many, maybe 50 in total. They had all been treated badly. They had all kept their heads down. But now they walked taller. They smiled more. They had seen one of their own stand up to a bully and win. "Thank you," a young human man told her one day. His name was, and he worked in the station's food court. "I have been here 2 years. 2 years of aliens pushing me around. I was starting to forget what it felt like to be proud." Did not know what to say. She had not done it for pride. She had just been angry about her grandmother's photograph. "I did not plan any of this," she said. "That is what makes it real," replied. The family tried to cause trouble. They filed complaints. They demanded hearings. They threatened to pull their business from the station, but did not bend. The evidence was clear. The law was the law. In the end, his family had to pay a large fine for his behavior. Their trading license was suspended for 3 months. Himself was banned from sector forever. It was the first time Ed had been officially punished for bullying a human. It would not be the last. 2 weeks after the incident, received a message on her. It was from an organization called the Galactic Peacekeepers. They were like police, but for the whole galaxy. They handled problems too big for any one station or planet. The message was simple. They wanted to meet with her. They had a job offer. Read the message 3 times. Then she put down the and looked out her small window at the stars. She thought about Earth. She thought about her grandmother. She thought about the life she had planned. Save money, go home, live quietly, forget about space and aliens and all of it. But could she really go back now? Could she pretend to be invisible again? The galaxy knew about humans now. Not just facts and numbers, but the truth. They knew that humans were not weak. They knew that humans could fight. They knew that underestimating a human could cost you an arm. Or more. This changed things. Humans would be treated differently from now on. Some aliens would respect them. Others would fear them, and some would want to test them. Could go home and let others deal with that. Or she could stay and help shape what came next. She picked up her and typed a reply. I am interested. When do we meet? The answer came back within minutes. Tomorrow, Docking Bay 7. Welcome to the Peacekeepers. Read the message and felt something she had not felt in a long time. It was not happiness exactly. It was not pride. It was something harder to name. It felt like purpose. She stood up and walked to her desk. Her grandmother's bag sat there, empty now but still precious. She ran her fingers over the soft leather. I am sorry about the photograph, she said quietly. But maybe something good will come from this. Maybe I can help make sure no one else has to feel so small, so invisible. The bag did not answer, but somehow felt like her grandmother would understand. Tomorrow was a new day. Tomorrow everything would change again. She was ready. 3 months passed like water flowing down a river. Nexus 7 was different now. The corridors looked the same. The shops sold the same goods. The ships came and went just like before, but something had changed in the air, something invisible but real. Humans walked differently now. Not all of them were fighters-like. Most were just workers, merchants, travelers, but they held their heads higher. They looked aliens in the eye. When someone tried to push them aside, they did not move. And most of the time, the aliens did not push. Was not a cargo inspector anymore. She wore a new uniform now, dark blue with silver markings. The symbol of the Galactic Peacekeepers sat on her shoulder. She had a small office on the upper levels of the station, with a window that showed the stars. Her job was to teach. Aliens came to learn from her, security officers, soldiers, peacekeepers from other stations. They wanted to understand how humans fought. They wanted to learn the secrets of martial arts. Taught them what she could. She showed them how to use an enemy's strength against them. She showed them how to find weak points. She showed them how to stay calm when everything was chaos. But she also taught them something more important. Fighting is the last choice, she told her students one morning. They sat in a training room, 30 aliens of different species, all watching her with careful eyes. A good warrior knows how to fight. A great warrior knows when not to. A young raised his hand. His scales were pale green and his eyes were nervous. But what if someone attacks first, like what happened to you? Looked at him. He was young, scared, probably sent here by his family to learn about the creatures who had humbled them. Then you defend yourself, said, with exactly as much force as you need, no more, no less. She paused. I could have killed, I chose not to. That choice is what separates defense from violence. The young nodded slowly. He was thinking that was good. After class walked through the station. Aliens greeted her as she passed. Shop owners waved. Children of various species pointed and whispered. She was famous here now. The human who broke the bully's arm. She did not love being famous, but she was getting used to it. Near the food court she found. The young human man had changed too. He stood behind his counter with confidence now. His small restaurant had become popular. Aliens came from all over the station to try human food. He called out, "Come eat, I made your favorite." She sat at the counter and ate rice and vegetables. Simple food, the kind her grandmother used to make. "How is business?" she asked. "Better every day," smiled. "People are curious about us now. They want to understand humans. Food is a good place to start." Nodded. That was true. Food was how cultures talked to each other. It was hard to hate someone after you had shared a meal with them. "I heard from Earth today," said. "My sister sent a message. She says things are changing there too. More aliens visiting. More treaties being signed. They are talking about humans joining the Galactic Council." Stopped eating. "The council that is fast. 3 months ago no one cared about us. Now everyone wants to be our friend." Shrugged. "Or at least they do not want to be our enemy." This was the truth. The video had changed everything. Humans were no longer just a young species from a small planet. They were a mystery, a question, a possibility. What else could humans do? Some aliens were excited to find out. Some were afraid. But no one ignored humans anymore. That time was over. Finished her meal and continued walking. She had one more place to visit today. The medical center was quiet. Clean white walls, soft lights, the smell of medicine in the air. Walked down a long hallway until she found the room she was looking for. Sat inside. His arm was healed now. Medicine was good, but he looked different, smaller somehow. The pride was gone from his face. He looked like someone who had learned a hard lesson. He looked up when entered. For a moment, fear flashed in his yellow eyes. Then it faded into something else, something tired. "What do you want?" he asked. Stood by the door. She did not come closer. "I wanted to see how you were healing." Looked at his arm. He flexed his clawed fingers. "It works. The doctors say it will be fully strong again in another month." "Good." Silence fell between them, stared at the floor, waited. Finally he spoke. "I have thought about that day, many times." His voice was quiet. "I was cruel to you, for no reason, just because I could be. Because everyone told me humans were weak and worthless." "They told you wrong," said. "Yes, they did," looked up at her. "I am sorry for your bag, for the photograph, for all of it." Studied his face. She was good at reading people. It came from years of training, years of watching for danger. What she saw and now was not a trick. It was real. "I accept your apology," she said. Blinked. He had not expected that. "You do?" "Yes, holding on to anger is heavy. I would rather put it down." Turned to leave, then stopped. "Learn from this, be better. That is how you truly apologize." She left him sitting there, thinking. Outside the medical center, looked up at the stars through a large window. So many lights, so many worlds, so many possibilities. Her buzzed, a message from Earth, from her sister. "When are you coming home?" Smiled and typed her reply. "Not yet. I have work to do out here, but soon, I promise." She put the away and kept walking. Her grandmother's bag hung over her shoulder, empty but precious. A reminder of where she came from, a reminder of who she was. She was human, soldier, teacher, peacekeeper. She was small, she was quiet, she was easy to miss if you were not looking carefully. But the galaxy was looking now. And they would never see humans the same way again.